Sorry for the late review, but if you follow my Facebook and Twitter, you would have seen I posted up that yesterday I was very under the weather, so I didn't do any videos for that matter. But at the very least, I wanted to get this One Piece review out because it's not too late, and better late than never, right? So this week's episode, starting off, I was like, what's up with this? It started off at the 7-minute mark. So definitely you can see that Oda's breaks that he's taking regarding the manga are starting to take effect into the anime, because normally we start off somewhere between the 4 and 5 minute mark, and I'm cool with that because at this point it's become par for the course with One Piece that we get about 4 to 5 minutes of recap and then it goes into the episode. But this one, we lost pretty much essentially 2 to 3 minutes of content to basically recaps of, past episodes and things of that nature, and it was just getting me like a little bit like, it's getting to the point where, in another week or two, we're going to get 2 more minutes of recap, and then it's going to be 9 minutes, and it's going to feel like the Bleach anime all over again. So, I mean, at this point, they should really consider going into some sort of filler, and normally, I know people don't really like filler, but when's the last time One Piece has had a really bad filler anyway? I mean, for the most part, One Piece does filler pretty good. I mean, I enjoy mostly all of the filler in One Piece, so smack up a filler up in this or something, or, animate some of those cover page stories, because if it's going to get to the 7-minute mark where we're starting the episode, and then who knows how many more minutes are going to smack onto that, it's going to get to the point where we're getting like 12 minutes of content or something, so definitely it's getting a little bit edgy there as far as how much of the episode is going to be recap. Like, hopefully this is the limit. So with this episode, we got some small progression in the beginning. We got Frankie and Zoro finally meet up, and they're at the Tontada base. They're starting to learn of the plan, and they're starting to learn of the lies of Usopp. But I just really got a little bit of a chuckle out of Zoro's reaction and Frankie's reaction, like, Usopp with them lies, and he's like, well, I guess I'm Zoro land, and I guess I'm Frank land, or Frankie land, something like that. It was just pretty funny to see, like, they're like, oh god, what lies does he come up with now? And the way this episode was describing them, I'm starting to feel a little bit more like the manga referenced it slightly, like, oh yeah, the Tontadas are, somewhat formidable, even though they're very small. But this episode really made me feel a little bit more like, okay, maybe the Tontadas can actually, if they all banded together, do something, opposed to, like, in the manga, I felt like, yeah, I know of their capabilities, but it didn't really drive home, and that's one thing that the anime, since it has so much time to do, it really gives you a feel of, like, maybe these Tontadas aren't too bad after all. I felt a little bit weird when Usopp was listening to them talk, those Tontadas, and they were like, yeah, when we spring into action, and Usopp was like, I ain't springing into no action. Like, it felt like classic Usopp, but it also felt like a dick move in the middle of him talking. He's just thinking to himself, like, I don't give a fuck what you say, I ain't jumping in nothing. It's like, Usopp, like, sometimes he, especially with the characterization as they do in the anime and manga, it feels like old Usopp again, back in the day when he was just, like, scared of everything, and it was like, that felt like one of those moments. Like, I know Usopp can be scaredy cat, and, that's part of his personality for the most part. It will always be, at the end of the day, essentially, he will always have some sort of fear, like, things might go wrong, so let me not do that. But the way, I don't know, it just felt a little awkward. Then we get the revelation that the Donquixote, they've been doing things like this for 900 years. They've been fucked up people. The Tontadas have been victims of them. And when we look at that picture, I said this, I remember in my manga review, and the fact that the anime kept, for the most part, the picture intact. You see, like, the evil-looking Donquixote from 900 years ago, and it kind of reminded me of a mixture between Doflamingo and Blackbeard. And again, the mystique of Marshall D. Teach, we really don't know too much about him. We know a little bit of what he's done in his life right now, how he joined Whitebeard and then double-crossed him, but he still has a very mysterious backstory, so who knows, maybe at some given point Blackbeard himself or, some of his ancestors were part of the Donquixote, and maybe he's a Donquixote reject that decided to go crazy. We got a little bit more of Luffy versus Don Chinjao, so we see that still going on. Luffy's going gear second a lot in the anime. I feel like almost every episode he goes gear second for something, and while that's cool to see and is making the battle look, intense and epic and everything like that, definitely gotta wonder if they're gonna take into account when they're doing, like, episodes later on in the future regarding Luffy's health, how many times, because we do know that gear second is a strain on his health, so seeing him go gear second so many goddamn times, like, I'm sure in the manga he didn't go gear second that many times, so it's kind of making me think, like, yeah, this should be affecting his health in the long run a lot. But nonetheless, I'm glad, even though they're slowing things down and not too many things are happening, at least they're still trying to entertain us by showing us this epic fight between the two of them. And every time I hear Don Chinjao, it's like, what did Garp do to me? Please, just move on with that particular portion of the story, because I'm really just interested to see this animated with Don Chinjao and Luffy finding out the struggle is real for Law. Law is fucking running for his life, and even the smallest things, like right now, it feels so crucial and critical that any little speck can save Law another few minutes, because like all it took was for Caesar Clown to come in there and say, he has my heart, be careful, and he's like, room shambles. So you can see how dire the situation is when one small box of dialogue pretty much is enough for him to say, fuck, I gotta use that and get out of here. Law is definitely in a desperate situation. The anime is making it look way more dire as well. Again, this is some of the positives that the anime can do with its pacing, since the anime doesn't have, you know, very quick pacing opposed to like the manga. Well, the manga isn't the most quickest either. However, the way the anime does things, it, you know, prolongs things and drags things out. Sometimes it can be bad, sometimes it can be good. Again, it's making me feel a little bit more like, God damn, Law is just in such a fucked up situation. Like, get him out of there. And I really feel it tremendously. Not that the manga didn't do it, but the anime is just making it even feel more like, God damn, you're seeing the ins and outs of him just struggling desperately. At the very least, we got a little bit of progression in that area where he finally got in contact with the ship. He knows what's going on over there, but he's also telling them, yo, I need you over here to grab Caesar. So there's a little bit of a conflict right there. They're both in a dire situation. And speaking of the anime helping to improve things, also the Jola situation with Jola and Nami and them, I felt like the anime, even though some of this was in the manga, but the anime is definitely making me feel that situation is going on, because I remember in the manga, it was like, you see it a couple different times, but for the most part, it really wasn't focusing on that part with Jola attacking them and them going back and forth. And I like that we're getting a little bit more of that, seeing that Jola ain't no joke either. The Donquixote ain't nothing to fuck with. So I was glad that they're implementing more of that as well. Like, if you're going to do stretching things out, give us more interesting things, and you see that fight is going on as well. I like also how they explained it very well, because at first when I was watching the episode, my brain just dirt for a second, and I see her, you know, use her wand or whatever, or Nami use her rod to do something, and I was for a second thinking, oh yeah, she turns it into a toy, and I was like, oh wait a minute, it's the art fruit. So definitely, I'm sure Oda did that to clarify, so that anyone gets, you know, mistaken or anything, no, she is the art fruit. They do have a toy fruit person, but Jola's not it. So I like that Oda gave clarification, because for a second even there, I was kind of like, is that a toy? Oh, no, wait. And overall, it was an okay episode. Some things happened for the most part. We got slight progression here, slight progression there. Even though they're prolonging things, they're still giving us entertainment. Because at the end of the day, even though an episode can feel like, yeah, not too much happened, at least if it's entertaining you, there's that as well. Because like Luffy and Don Chinjao, it's not like they're just standing there talking. You're seeing them clash yet again. And Luffy is having to go all out for the most part, because he is going gear second consistently, combined with the armament hockey, just to keep up with Don Chinjao. So that shows that Don Chinjao ain't nothing to fuck with. He's not going down easily, and it's kind of making the fight seem, okay, this is accurate, this is how it should feel. Although, again, it is prolonging it in certain situations. So overall, I'm going to give this episode 6 out of 10. We got some slight progressions here or there. Not too much happened, but at the very least, again, even though it's prolonging things and making them feel a little bit more in-depth. We're getting a little bit more of Jola. We're getting a little bit more of the struggle that Law's in. It's making the Tontadas look a little bit more credible, so I'm liking that aspect. And just overall, it was a fun episode, chill episode, getting a lot of different things and seeing what's going on here, what's going on there, and I like that aspect of it. Let me know what you think. First of all, do you think that it could get to a certain point where they're just making the recap so long? Because again, if they're going up to 7 minutes, what's to stop them from going up to 10 minutes next week with recap? And again, I hate to like pick on anything, but I remember the Bleach anime at some given point during the eyes and stuff, it was like 12 to 13 minutes, 14 minutes of recap at some given point, and I would hate for One Piece to go that far, because again, you know, it's understandable Oda's sick or whatever in the manga, but implement filler at that point. I don't want to go through like 12 minutes of recap. I mean, obviously I could skip it, but then what's left of the episode is not much. So what do you think about that? And also, is the anime giving you that feel of like you're getting a little bit more in depth with each situation that's going on right now? Do you feel like it's making them either more intense or more mystified, or just overall you're getting a little bit more out of each situation, since we are getting a bit prolonged on every scene? And just overall thoughts of the episode. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to subscribe, that'd be awesome as well if you aren't already. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.